Just want to make a quick video today and go over a topic that is kind of touchy. It's been hotly debated, and I've received a ton of hate mail for some articles that I've written on the subject of clean eating. So today I want to give you how I feel personally about clean eating, and I want to go over a couple things that have happened in the last almost 2 years since I wrote the first article entitled Clean Eating is a Scam back in September of 2010. The first thing I want to go over is basically say that in the world of fitness and nutrition and health and just in general trying to be leaner and stronger and live a better, healthier life, there's a lot of stuff that is outlandish. There's a lot of beliefs about food, nutrient timing, how to exercise, all this stuff that is nothing more than simply a belief. Some of those beliefs are true. Some of those beliefs we found out necessarily aren't true. A lot of people used to think meal timing was super important to keep a healthy, fast metabolism. We had to eat 6 to 8 times a day. Thankfully, to Brad Pilon, Martin Berkhan, Lyle McDonald, Alan Aragon, all these people discussing this, looking at research, and now we have intermittent fasting that's popular, and it wasn't popular before, and now we understand that maybe this belief we had about meal timing, having 6 to 8 meals, stoking the metabolic fire, is maybe not necessarily true as we thought it once was. It was true to us because, well, it worked. But when you look at research and you see another side of the coin, you understand that what was true isn't absolute. So you have 2 or 3 ways that something can work, and regardless of how you get to that goal, it doesn't really matter as long as you do certain things, and it doesn't matter if you have 6 meals or 2 meals. So I'm kind of going off the point, but I want to get back to it. First thing I touched on was belief. I feel like a lot of people in the fitness industry and in nutrition, we all have certain beliefs. What I believe may or may not be true. What you believe may or may not be true. You may believe that clean eating is one thing, and I may believe it's something completely different. So first, let's start with what's a belief. For simple definition, a belief is a psychological state in which an individual holds a proposition or premise to be true. As I mentioned earlier, a belief may or may not be true, may or may not be factual. But regardless of that, we still believe certain things. So now we know what a belief is. How do beliefs affect us? What do they do to us, and how does it impact our lives? Well, I wrote this article called Clean Eating is a Scam almost 2 years ago, and I'll never forget the day I published it, because while my title was sensational and I wrote it for a reason, and I wanted to get attention, and I wanted to get people to read the article. I wanted them to see my viewpoint. It seemed that a lot of people couldn't really get past the part where I said clean eating is a scam. I don't believe that clean eating is anything, because in my opinion, clean eating is nothing but just an idea. It means something different to everyone. I detail in my story briefly how it affected me negatively. So like, I used to believe certain foods were off limits, and because of that, I happened to binge, and I would go weeks without eating a bagel or a burger from McDonald's every once in a while, and then I would go 3 or 4 weeks without eating any of this, eating the most bland food, and it would come back to me, and I would be at a party or something where there was just tons of off-limit foods, and I would just pig out, and it was a cycle. And I finally came to the conclusion that this wasn't healthy. This wasn't something that I wanted to keep doing. When I realized that as long as I hit my macros, maintained a certain energy balance, of course, I made sure I got protein. I made sure that I had a certain amount of fruit every day, just for certain health purposes, and vitamins and minerals. Made sure I ate lean meats, and it's stuff that is generally healthy in good whole food. And then if I wanted to have a burger, or if I wanted to go to the Mexican restaurant and have some chips and salsa and get a margarita or whatever along the lines I wanted, as long as I had a balanced diet, fit it into my calories, chances are no voodoo stuff would happen, nothing bad would happen to my physique, and I could live a normal, healthy life and maintain a social life and have a good time and still be chasing after my fitness and my physique goals. So as you can see, clean eating, in a sense, was affecting me negatively because I believed that in in order to reach my goals, that meant eating 6 meals a day. That meant sticking to bland foods with hardly any spices because of whatever trace elements were in these spices or MSG or really small stuff. I was really nitpicky. I thought the days were over that I could have a pizza, or I thought the days were over that I could go out with my friends and have wings and beer with my fraternity brothers. And then when I finally learned that through experimentation and through lots of research and meeting Alan Aragon and having lots of conversations about food and meal timing and macro composition, I learned and I proved to myself it's not really that big of a deal. And that's what I wanted to convey. Clean eating can mean many different things to many different people. Like, I don't want you to think that I'm against whole foods or against a healthy diet, because as I said earlier, I'm not. I make sure every day that I have plenty of fruits, plenty of lean meats, and I make sure that I get a well-rounded variety of foods to cover my bases. And then if I want to have something, I have something. Google actually changed their algorithm, I don't know, like a month ago, something like that. And ever since then, if you Google clean eating, I'm actually on the first page of Google for that term. In saying that, I've gotten a lot of search traffic from it, a lot of new readers, and a lot of people either coming in like a kamikaze and saying you're full of crap and you don't know anything and getting hate mail and stuff like that, or I get the complete opposite and somebody's like, wow, this is a breath of fresh air. I've read all 3 of your clean eating articles. This is amazing. I wish I had found you sooner. That's cool. I'm flattered. That's awesome. But the point I want to make today is this comes down to nothing but a belief system. So I'm going to challenge you to think about the decisions you make as far as your fitness goals, your nutrition goals. Think about why you're eating certain foods, what you're doing, why you're trying to get to a certain goal. Then think about like your beliefs that revolve around those goals. Ask yourself if they're true. I'm not going to go into certain specifics, but I want to give you briefly a little glimpse into what I read and what I deal with. It's my friend Steve Troutman. He made a little blog post the other day, and he had a bunch of articles that he really liked, and just kind of a roundup of sorts. And he actually mentioned me in there, and he liked one of my articles. He wrote something I just thought was super cool, so I'm going to read it for you, and I want you to think about it. And I really feel strongly about this because we tend to tie our nutrition and our fitness into something that it's almost like a religious debate, or it can be like politics. You know, like people are super opinionated about religion, politics, and the stuff. And like if you talk to a Republican and you're a Democrat, and you know they're going to be really opinionated, and you are. Same thing happens in the fitness world. And so here's the quote. One of the main reasons I don't spend a lot of time on fitness forums anymore is I got tired of watching people defend their beliefs about nutrition and exercise as if it were a religious debate. Life's too damn short, and most people's minds are too damn closed. I thought this was really cool, and I couldn't have said it better. I totally agree. I think that instead of holding on to what some guru said, what your nutritionist said, what your strength coach said, instead of holding on to it as gospel and saying, this is 100% correct and this is exactly how it has to be and there's no other ways around this, why don't you open your mind and maybe question it a little bit? Like, I don't want you to take my advice for all it's like. I don't want you to take it for gospel. I want you to question it. You know, I'm trying to give you the best of my knowledge and the best of truth and facts, but things change in science. Things are always evolving. But I just want to encourage you to maybe, you know, don't necessarily question their authority, but at the same time, think outside the box a little bit. Be like, well, is there another way to get to my goal? Do I absolutely have to eat grapes after my training session, or could I get a similar benefit by eating oranges or apples? Do I have to drink X amount of milk per day, or could I fill in some of that protein with some whey or with some cheese? These are just examples. They may be kind of corny, whatever, but I want you to think outside of this little box that a lot of people put themselves in. I got 2 comments most recently within the last couple weeks on my original article, Clean Eating is a Scam. I want to give you an idea of how like split down the middle it can be. I see this stuff and like a lot of times I'm just shaking my head going, wow, this person totally missed the point. This person really needs to check how they think about things, because it's really closed-minded. This all came in on the same day. This was on May 30th, and they actually weren't really too far apart from each other, like an hour. So we're going to start with this guy's comment first off, and I'll read it how he wrote it here. I think anyone who knocks clean eating, or another way to put it as an older term, whole foods, is not nutritionally educated. Eating foods as close to the state they were grown in is healthy. God made it whole, so eating it whole is the most beneficial. More flavor, more nutrition, more fiber. Our bodies can use whole foods much more efficiently than processed foods. So many more problems come about because of processed foods in our bodies. So many diseases can be solved just by changing what you eat. I know I'm a clean eater for life. I have a list of things I've been delivered from that no doctor could figure out. Changing my food intake to clean changed my life. He put that in all caps with an exclamation point. And I have in turn helped others change theirs. So he's obviously sensational, and he's excited about his results and what he feels about clean eating. As you'll notice, he tied the word clean eating with whole foods. Now, if you go look at other people's views about clean eating, you often find bodybuilder, figure competitors, or whoever else talks about clean eating, and if you ask them, it might be a similar definition, but some of them actually allow foods like sucralose and artificial sweeteners. Some of them allow certain processed foods like rice cakes, or sometimes they have certain fast food options or whatever, which technically aren't deemed whole foods just because of the manufacturing process and the trans fat that's added and stuff like that. So think about that. Like, you can ask two people who are clean eaters, and they have a completely different view on what clean eating is. I hope this helps you understand how I feel sometimes about when I read these articles, or not read these articles, when I read these comments. Sometimes the emails are nasty and vicious, and people are like, just telling me I don't know anything, and I look over it now. But the other comment comes from this lady, and I thought it was so cool because I first got his, and I'm just like, crap, it's like, man, why is this guy all pissed at me for? And she writes simply, she says, "Thank you for your article. I was sucked into the clean eating mentality and the idea that you must only lift hard and heavy all the time, and it triggered massive eating issues. So I can kind of relate to that. Thankfully, I am now seeing the light and am closely working towards having a better relationship with food, not one that's dictated by pro-science and myths." So this was a much better way to end the night, instead of me reading the guy's comment and getting all mad. Like, I don't really care. But in the end, it's two totally different views. So you'll see that his idea about clean eating and his idea about my article was completely outside of how she felt. And I probably shouldn't have named the article "Clean Eating" as a scam. I don't take it back, because it kind of put me on the map, so to speak, and got me a lot of views, a lot of readers, and got me a lot of haters. But in saying that, for the record, I'm not a clean eater, and I don't really believe in the idea of clean eating. I try to get whole foods every day. I drink a lot of milk. I consume a lot of orange juice, fresh fruits, lots of melons, grapes. On the occasion, I will go out and have a pizza, or I will go to my favorite restaurant in Nashville and eat whatever I want. For the most part, my diet's full of fruit, lean meats, and dairy. Those are just my personal preferences. That's just what I like to eat, and it's easy. But it works for me. I don't really see a reason not to go have a burger or drink a Coke every once in a while, or a Pepsi, or whatever you like. As long as it's in moderation and you realize that this is an energy balance game, as long as you're getting enough whole foods during the day to cover your bases in terms of micronutrients and certain things you need every day, and vitamins and minerals, I think having a little bit of what you want on top of that is not really that big of a deal, as long as it fits within your goals. I hope I cleared up any questions you may have had about clean eating. I hope I challenged you to think differently and think outside of the box. Maybe not have such a narrow view, and don't necessarily take everyone's word for gospel. If you have a favorite guru, maybe question his ideas or her ideas, and then look at someone else and read their views and see what they think. Because in the end, it has to make sense for you, and you have to make it true to yourself. and try to figure out if you have any beliefs that maybe are not factual or maybe not 100% correct, and then look into research and look into other people that are interpreting the research. Start expanding your knowledge and then make a decision for yourself. And saying that, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I may be embedding this into an article soon. I don't know. It might be in an old article. Whatever. I don't care. If the video's there, you can leave a comment in the comment section on an article. Leave in the comment section here. You can email me. Call me if you have my number, but you probably don't have my number. If you do, that's awesome. Call me. See ya.